From River West, the greatest neighborhood in the world, right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it's The Log. I'm Charles Purcell. So yesterday, we did not talk about the Super Bowl at all. Before it gets too far away in our rearview mirror, I thought I'd mention a couple of things. Oh, everybody had to get all upset about the weekend. Okay, the halftime show. I have mixed feelings about this. When I'm feeling generous, when I'm feeling in a good mood, I am very happy, very willing to say, all right, this is a particular kind of genre of entertainment. These are artists. They're doing what they do. And it's very much like the Olympics, the opening ceremony of the Olympics. And it's this big sort of pageantry and over-the-top costuming and lighting. And now in the last few years, with the advent of 3D technology, you got the holograms going, and it's fine. It's a particular art form, and when I'm feeling good about life, I just let that go. So, okay, great. Show me what you got. This is all in good fun. When I'm not in such a great mood, and I'm not feeling generous of spirit, I just want to puke at this very over the top. I use the same language, just with a different attitude. This over-the-top pageantry, it's so gross and tasteless, and so it depends on my mood. But this year, after having a day to think about it, I kind of landed on the idea that, you know what, okay, good for you. I didn't quite get it. It's not my age, because I like lots of contemporary artists, but The Weeknd, I don't know. Not somebody I necessarily follow or like especially. His music is a little tedious. And because of COVID, they really had to limit what they could do, so there weren't costume changes. And I did take the occasion to read a little bit about The Weeknd, and I learned some things that I really wasn't aware of, especially the whole bandages on the face thing, which was pretty weird if you didn't understand what he was going for. And he's got this I won't get into it, but he's got this long history of the face bandages and the simulated broken nose and all of that. He's making a statement. It's making an artistic statement. That's fine. I like artists who are artists. So I admire that. Now, in this particular venue, 98% of your audience, maybe 99%, is not going to understand that. And of that 99%, 99% of those people will not bother to research, well, what's your artist statement on this? No. Everybody, except for a small handful of people, are just going to see jock straps on people's heads and make snarky remarks on Facebook, which is what people did. So, kind of a fail, I would say. Even though I really do respect, as I said, I respect artists who take their art seriously and try to make art. And they want their art to make a statement, and I think that's great. I really do, in all seriousness. So good for you, The Weeknd, but it didn't do anything for me. Boy, though, the people on social media, holy cow, they have their opinions, don't they? Man. Oh, here's another Super Bowl thought. Amanda Gorman, of course, she's the Youth Poet Laureate who made a big splash at the inauguration. Well, she had something to say at the Super Bowl as well. She wrote a poem especially for that. And it was very good, as expected. But the greatest service, I think, that Amanda Gorman has provided for us here is she has revealed in no uncertain terms just how pointless and vapid and amateurish all of these little wannabe inspirational essays are. When they get every year at the Super Bowl, and we see it throughout the year, but especially at the Super Bowl, they'll get some actor to recite some sort of very elaborately written essay about the power of perseverance and, whatever, or how we all have to get along. And they're so earnest, and they're so bad. And I've always thought so. I just roll my eyes and I think, I'm not a cynical guy. Just the opposite. You can get me. I'm an easy mark most of the time. If you've got some sort of sentimental message or poignant message you want to convey, if you do it well, you got me. I'll cry. I'll be crying before it's over. I'm a very sentimental guy, and I'm quick to respond. I get goosebumps. I shed tears. So it's not like I'm this cynical guy who rolls my eyes at all of this stuff. But these attempts at these little poignant essays are always so lame. And they never get me. And now, good old Amanda Gorman comes along, shows us what writing really is, what you can really do with words. And by comparison, just puts every other effort to shame. And she just shows them who's boss. There is no comparison. So, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. They'll keep trying, I suppose. But maybe take Amanda Gorman as some inspiration. Try to up your game a little bit. And if you can't meet this new standard that she has established, then just go in another direction. Go back to humor. Just do something else. But these little tear-jerky, poignant essays you're trying to create, oh man, you have been revealed. You have been exposed for the frauds that you are. Amanda Gorman has set a brand new bar. I'll tell you an example of that was the one effort that left me cold, and that was Bruce doing his first commercial, I think, ever. No one has ever talked him into doing a commercial before, but Jeep talked him into it, and they attempted this poignant, profound message kind of essay. I'm sure Bruce had a big hand in writing it because, he does that sort of thing. But two things to say about the Bruce piece. A, as I've already said, Amanda Gorman has shown us that it's not easy to be moving and profound. So there's that. But more importantly here, I was really disappointed in Bruce. Not that I ever have any high expectations of Bruce. I mean, it gets a little bit too much credit as this great sort of American poet. He ain't Bob Dylan. He's just kind of this hard-scrabbled Jersey kid who, writes about America. He doesn't have any big profound insights as far as I can see. And in this Super Bowl ad, it was all about coming together in the middle. He actually uses the word middle, in the middle. No. Exactly the wrong message. It was all about coming together, of course, in our current atmosphere of this great divide, politically speaking, culturally speaking. When you got neo-Nazis breaking into the U.S. Capitol and killing people, I don't know if I want to compromise with Nazis. I don't think I want to meet them in the middle. I think this was exactly the wrong message to send right now. If you wanted to plea for a national healing, I think there's a little more sophisticated, nuanced way you could do it. This dopey little simplistic idea of everybody just meeting in the middle and not being extreme just does not meet the moment at all. And it's not only inadequate, it's entirely inappropriate and, to me, offensive. And the imagery as well. What's with the little church and the cowboy hat? Let's meet in the middle of conservative Texas? This was very odd. There's nothing wise or profound about any of this. It's just a corporate America try to meet the moment in order to polish our brand. And the fact that Bruce went along with that, just very disappointing. It really was a very particular Super Bowl. There was no getting around it. It was of its time, from all the COVID protocols and the cardboard cutouts in the seats. And It was just very odd in that way. So it was the COVID Super Bowl. God, I hope it's the last one. We'll see what happens next year. And then Bruce and a couple of other efforts to meet the moment of the political divide. And then the NFL still desperately trying to make racial injustice part of their brand, or the fight against racial injustice, I should say. We all remember how the season started right after the tumultuous summer. We come into fall of 2020, and the players and the Players Association is insisting that the NFL somehow speak to the issue, or at least allow the players to speak to the issue. And the NFL went so far as to apologize to Colin Kaepernick. They didn't. Nobody gave him a job still. And so now at the end of the season, they give a little token mention to, well, the season is over, but the fight continues, or whatever. And again, it just really smells like corporate branding all the way. For those with good intentions, and I'm sure there are many within the organization, and certainly among the players, lots of great intentions. Good, just fight the fight, that's great. But yeah, the NFL brand, the shield, all these billionaire owners, didn't really ring true. And Colin Kaepernick never did get a job, and he never will in the NFL. Well, never say never. We'll see. Someday, he's going to be a hero, just like Martin Luther King, who half the nation despised, is now universally beloved. And Muhammad Ali, who most of the nation despised, wound up being universally beloved. Colin Kaepernick will probably go down that same road. And maybe at NFL honors, many, many years from now, they'll give him some special award, and he'll stand up in front of the, thousands, and they'll all give him a standing ovation and a cheer for him. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be at all surprised. They'll give him some big special trophy. In fact, I would be surprised if that didn't happen. It's going to take, 30 years. But in our current moment of 2021 and this particular Super Bowl, yeah, it certainly reflected our times more than any other Super Bowl I can remember. And there's no getting around it. I mean, it's a national holiday. It gets everybody's attention. So you can't just poo-poo it, as hard as people try. The people who think it's a big, dumb joke, it's not. It might be big and dumb, but it ain't no joke. It has power in the culture. And right now our culture is in a very tenuous condition. I mean, you and I have spoken many times about the political divide, the cultural divide, and how for-profit corporate media is largely responsible for that divide to the extent it exists at all. So the first point being, and we've said this many times, it bears repeating, the country is not split in half. It only looks that way. The biggest issue before Congress right now, the Relief Act, the Coronavirus Relief Act, has close to 70%. I think the last number I saw was 68%. 68% approval. Yes, pass it now. That's not close. You guys, that's not close. We're not a 50-50 divided nation. Another undeniable truth that needs to be repeated every day until people understand it. There is no left in this country. It doesn't exist. Bernie Sanders, on any objective scale, is just a very moderate guy, just a little left of center. If you look at every developed nation on this planet, Bernie and AOC are very moderate, a little bit left of center people. There is no left in this country. It doesn't exist in any meaningful way. So if somebody's asking us to all meet in the middle, let's stick with the football here. We got football in our heads. If the right wing of this country, the rightest, wingiest people are at their own goal line, and the lefties, like me, are on the other goal line, that puts Bernie and AOC close to the 50. Maybe on my side of the 50 by 5 or 10 yards. So can you picture that? So Bernie and AOC are, let's say, at the 40-yard line. The right-wing nuts are at the goal line. I'm at the other goal line. So when these so-called moderates and the Bruce Springsteens of the world tell us to meet in the middle, well, where's the middle? You still have your football field? Are you close your eyes and you're picturing that? If you're in a car, don't close your eyes. Meeting in the middle between Bernie and the right-wing crazies puts us at about the 30-yard line of the right-wing field. And that's the little game we've been playing for years and years and decades. The right wing says, well, meet us halfway. And the Democratic moderates, trying to be good sports, okay, let's meet them halfway. And then you meet them, and then it's the same game every time. They keep moving, they keep shifting the middle to the right, to the right, to the right. There's a new added dimension to this whole thing now, and that is that I, on the left, I'm being accused of wanting to throw people away. Have you heard this expression? I want to throw people away. Unless I'm willing to compromise and meet them in the middle, I'm dismissing them as people. Well, speaking for myself now, I'm not speaking for anybody else. I don't dismiss anyone as a person. I think every flesh and blood person on this planet is worthy of a good life. They're worthy of happiness. They deserve it. Whatever horrible ideas they got rattling around in their heads, every person is redeemable. I believe this. So no, I'm not about to purge any person. I am advocating that we purge ideas, yes. And if the two extremes are crazy QAnon, lizard people, pedophile, blood drinkers, as opposed to moderate, just left of center Bernie and AOC, if those are the two extremes, then yeah, there's some ideas on the table there that I don't need to respect. I don't need to make allowances for. I don't have to compromise with. No, I'm not going to compromise with Nazis. I'm not going to compromise with U.S. Confederates. No, I'm not going to do it. Sorry. Does it mean I want them dead? Does it mean I want them destroyed? No, they're people. They're human beings. But this compromise BS, this meet in the middle crap, is completely misguided and oh so dangerous. So when you hear these conversations, when you hear these debates, just keep in your mind ideas versus people. Ideas versus people. No, we don't want to purge anybody. We do want to purge some ideas, for sure. And as maddening as the crazy right-wingers are, even worse are the Nancy Maces of the world. Nancy Mace is a new congresswoman from, where's she from? South Carolina. Everybody loves Nancy Mace. The mainstream media just fell in love with Nancy Mace because she was so reasonable and so centrist and so ready to get along. No, she's the radical center. The way I describe radical center is people in this middle position, and they are so devoted to the center as an ideology. Regardless of policies, regardless of outcomes, regardless of reality, they are just completely 100% devoted to being in the center, and they think that gives them the moral high ground. So Nancy Mace has taken that position. And I've seen her on conservative media. I've read her interviews and seen her on more liberal media, no left media, because as I must repeat, there's no such thing as the left represented anywhere in mainstream media. It doesn't exist. So anyway, Nancy Mace gets all righteous and superior, taking this middle Bruce Springsteen position, and then is very comfortable, very happy to equate AOC, the Squad, Ilhan Omar with the Q crazies. That's what the radical center does, constantly creating false equivalents, distorting and misrepresenting reality in the name of their God, their ideological God of centrism. I'm all for diversity of thought. I'm all for political debate, but only in a world where there's a shared reality. And part of that shared reality is an agreement that some ideas, not people, some ideas are unacceptable. So everybody right, left, and center, can we agree that Nazis are not welcome to this party? Can we agree on that? Can we agree that groups like Proud Boys, fomenters of race-based violence, cheerleaders for a race war? Can we agree that they're not welcome into this conversation? Can we agree on that? I don't think this is asking too much. Can we agree that insane QAnon conspiracy theories about Satan worshiping cannibal pedophiles, can we agree that those ideas have no place in the current debate? I'm not asking too much. There were a couple of mentions in the news about deprogramming. And I don't have the quotes right in front of me, but I remember reading this at the time. They were actually kind of reasonable. Some people were definitely victims of a cult, and quite literally, they do need to be deprogrammed. There's nothing controversial about that statement at all. But then the right side of this political equation, including very mainstream Republicans, just jumped on that. Oh, we're going to be reprogrammed. They think we have to be reprogrammed. Completely misunderstanding the point, or more accurately, deliberately misunderstanding the point so they could make their own political points. And then we get into the whole cancel culture thing, which is also infuriating because the term cancel culture has been around for a little while. You and I talked about it not that long ago. It was just a couple of months ago. And at the time, the fight was between the center left and the left. It was generally liberal, neoliberal Democrat types, kind of the center left, being critical of the further left, the progressives. So we hear this fight always between the liberals and the progressives. Labels are dangerous, but these are kind of handy. So when cancel culture first became a term that we then became aware of, that was the fight. It was the fight between generally older generation liberals versus younger generation progressives. And the older liberals were accusing the younger progressives of this so-called cancel culture. You're being too militant. You're being too critical. You're being too politically correct. So then the right-wingers co-opt this phrase, this concept. This is something the Orange Menace used to do all the time. He would steal ideas and make them his own. So that's what's happened with cancel culture. The right-wingers now, this is their battle cry. And Fox News and One American News, and there's another one out there, I forget, they're all crazy. This is the flag they're flying. They have taken the term cancel culture, completely co-opted it, taken it on as their own, and they use it to cry foul when they are brought to account. Your words, your policies are dangerous. They lead to violence, and we're calling you on it. And their response, oh, freedom of speech, cancel culture. People are so confused about the notion of free speech. They're so confused. If you want to stick to that term cancel, I'm going to say without apology, yes, some ideas, again, not people, ideas, some ideas need to be canceled. And yes, there are still laws on the books, righteous laws that I have no trouble with at all, regarding defamation and libel. And where they are applicable, they should be enforced. So that's why these lawsuits from Dominion and what's the other one? Smartmatic? Is that what it's called? The ballot tabulation company? Yeah. Massive billion-dollar lawsuits brought against Fox and particular personalities. Lou Dobbs gets his ass fired. These radical right-wing media outlets, they're forced to admit that, yeah, we were lying, or no, there's no evidence to what we were saying. Yeah, these lawsuits, they're showing some quick results. So good for them. And I'll close with this because that reminds me. I love that we have a shorthand, the big lie. Everybody's using it. And that's handy. It's good. Language is important. I'm a fan of language. Makes a difference. And this is a very nice little shorthand. The big lie, of course, being the Orange Menace won the election, and it was only taken from him by way of cheating. Now, for my money, I think there's room under this umbrella term to also include, I think this is important, when we hear big lie, and this is the beauty of shorthand, it tells a lot of information, it paints a big picture, it tells a whole story in a phrase. And that's good. It's good that language can do that. the other big lie doesn't get quite as much attention, and that is that anything left of Marco Rubio is evil, authoritarian, end-the-world communism. It's evil. Anything left of Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley is going to literally take every dollar that you earn. They're going to tell you where to live. They're going to tell you how to think. They're going to tell you what TV shows to watch. They're going to take away your guns. They're going to indoctrinate your children. And every single one of your freedoms will be stripped. And America will no longer exist. The description I just laid out is believed 100% by a good portion of this country. Again, not 50%. That's that's not true. But a sizable enough cohort to really cause trouble for everybody. So when I hear the term big lie, I think most people take that as a shorthand for the Orange Menace won the election. I think when we hear the term big lie, everybody right, left, and center needs to understand that this deadly evil empire that's been concocted out of thin air goes hand in hand with the reason they can't accept the victory of Joe Biden. So there's your big lie. It's two big lies, and they coexist. Well, our half hour together always goes so quickly. Let's see, today's Tuesday. I'm recording this early, so before things get underway in the Senate, my understanding is not much is going to happen today. If I understand this correctly, they're just going to vote again. They've already done it once. They're going to do it again on whether or not to even have the trial, whether or not it's constitutional. So, of course, that will pass, probably by the same number. Maybe 4 or 5 Republicans will join the Democrats to say, yes, go ahead, if even that. And then things will really get underway tomorrow, Wednesday. So I guess we really won't be able to talk about this much until Thursday. As much as we've been looking forward to talking about the impeachment, nothing much happening today. Gets underway tomorrow, so we'll have to talk about it on Thursday. All right. Okay, until then, find ways to be happy and to serve. And I love you. I'm Charles Purcell.